Hey guys, Logan here, and today I'm going to be giving you guys my review for Ant-Man and the Wasp, the latest installment of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And this one is about Scott Lang trying to balance being both a superhero and a father, and Hope Van Dyne and Dr. Hank Pym present an urgent new mission that finds the Ant-Man fighting alongside the Wasp to uncover secrets from their past. I really enjoyed the first Ant-Man film, and not just because it was a hilarious movie to watch and had entertaining action sequences. It had a story that was engaging, and it had an emotional impact that it had on the characters that we cared about. So as a guy who really enjoys the first Ant-Man film, I was pretty excited, and I was also curious as to how this movie is going to tie into films like Avengers Infinity War, because this film, from what I understand, takes place before Avengers Infinity War. But here are my thoughts on Ant-Man and the Wasp. It's just a perfectly enjoyable Marvel film to watch. Is it as good as the first one? I wouldn't say so. I don't think it's really as good as the first one. And is this one of the best films of the year, like Black Panther or Avengers Infinity War? Not even close. But it's still a fun... That doesn't mean it's not a good film. It is a fun and enjoyable and entertaining and, cool film to watch, I guess. Paul Rudd, Michael Pena, and Michael Douglas, and a few cast members were very fantastic, particularly Evangeline Lilly as Hope Van Dyne. She was the standout of this movie for me. And that was kind of surprising because I really thought that Scott Lang was going to have as much of a standout or Paul Rudd was going to have as much standout performance in this film as Evangeline Lilly was going to have in this film. And that's certainly not the case with this movie. This movie kind of has Evangeline Lilly as Hope Van Dyne, the Wasp, as the standout of this movie. And that kind of threw me off a bit. The type of humor you were going to expect in a movie like this, since the first Ant-Man film, is exactly what you get. Although I will say the humor, I'm kind of not the biggest fan of at least a few jokes this time around. Some of the few jokes which, again, I might not be the biggest fan of, I at least kind of chuckled a bit, or at least kind of giggled a bit. There were some jokes in this one, however, that didn't kind of make me juggle or tickled in the slightest. And the action sequences, while fun and entertaining and very, action-packed, they weren't as very intense as, say, like the action sequences in the first Ant-Man, one of them being the whole train sequence at the end of the movie with Ant-Man and Yellow Jacket. That was the most memorable scene in the first Ant-Man film. And the action, there's not a single one that really stood out. They're kind of like pretty service level. But those issues I just mentioned are nothing compared to some of the couple of major issues that I have with Ant-Man and the Wasp. And one of them is the main villain, Ghost. Her backstory and her motivations were kind of promising, yet her character was kind of wasted. I feel like her character, the main villain, Ghost, has the potential to be a very, very interesting villain, and that you can understand where she's coming from, and she was pretty wasted. Another biggest issue I have with Ant-Man and the Wasp is that the whole subplot with Walton Goggins' character was pretty useless. There hasn't been a single scene where it explains to you why it's in this movie, and why Walton Goggins is in this movie as a criminal of some sort, a criminal businessman. If this subplot had anything to do with Ghost, or had some connection to Ghost somehow, for kind of business purposes, then I might buy it. But that didn't really happen. And there were a few times where the movie tries to set up some intense moments that were going to be intense and epic. And then it ends with a joke, a few parts at the very least. And that is kind of the same effect that Thor Ragnarok has suffered from. Just few times where some scenes might come as intense, but then ends with a joke. And that kind of ruins the whole setup for making some intense and suspense moments. Now, it's not to say that I want this movie to be more serious than the first one. In fact, be more serious than the humor that it has. I'm just expecting some, at least, moments that can make you be on the edge of your seat. And there hasn't been any. All the scenes that were meant to be intense ended with a joke. And that's kind of unnecessary. But other than that, this movie, like I said, was enjoyable to watch. It's certainly an entertaining summer popcorn Marvel film to watch in theaters. It's certainly worth seeing. I'm going to give Ant-Man and the Wasp a silver medal of honor. So anyway, guys, that is my review for Ant-Man and the Wasp. If you missed all of my reviews leading up to Black Panther, Infinity War, and Ant-Man and the Wasp, you can go check them out by pressing the annotation at the in the outro of this review. I have reviewed every MCU film that I had to review that I hadn't done a review leading up to Infinity War, Black Panther, and Ant-Man and the Wasp. So you can go check them out. Oh, and by the way, my review for Mission Impossible 3 will be up tomorrow. I kind of forgot, or no, not kind of, definitely forgot to watch that film yesterday and then do a review for that film before seeing Ant-Man and the Wasp. But for some reason, I kind of overlooked the video schedule. So that's on me for forgetting about doing Mission Impossible 3 review before seeing Ant-Man and the Wasp. So anyway, guys, Mission Impossible 3 review coming out tomorrow. If you guys enjoyed my review, please click the like button, and if you have seen Ant-Man and the Wasp, comment below and let me know what you think. If you enjoy what you've seen here and you want to see future videos from me, please press up there to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. And I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great week, Battle Squad, and as always, fight the good fight.